So I kind of want to go through this. First of all, let's just talk about the proliferation of security names in general. It used to be where there would just be a handful of platform plays when you and I first started. That's not the case anymore, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, and it's not only the sheer number of cyber companies, and a lot of times I think how many of those companies will be here 5-10 years from now, either by the sheer fact of them existing, or they are being emanate into larger organization who would like to offer a different capability. So even the organization I work in, being a sort of a product of M&A, the amalgamation of those vendors, I think eventually 5-10 years from now, we'll get into a smaller subset. And you mentioned a few names in there, Snyk, for example. If I go back 2 or 3 years ago, the big mammoth players in that industry were the likes of Veracode and Synopsys. And now, as a CISO myself, who've been used to utilizing Veracode, right now I'm totally considering looking at Snyk, and we are currently doing a POC with them. And again, a lot of these smaller players are nipping at the heels of the bigger players, and effectively they are taking market share. So that is one point that I wanna leave you with. The other thing, again, 5-10 years ago, all I had to do is look at North American market. Absolutely, effectively look at the North American companies. Right now, I constantly get pinged from different regions, mainly from Europe. So what was it, last 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got pinged by a data protection company from Europe. They were trying to get my thoughts on their data encryption product. 4 years ago, I would have looked at something like Varonis, again, a North American based organization. So you have these 2 areas that are evolving the marketplace at this point in time.
Yeah, it's an interesting comment to make about how many will still be here in 5 to 10 years. If you had to guess quickly, do you think that would be because of fading away or because of very active M&A consolidation?
So a combination of 2. Now, keep in mind that it's a lot of these, as you indicated, are startups. How many of those will have enough funds to take them to the next iteration, be it Series A or Series B? That is a very big question. And a lot of these companies are high PE ratio companies that depend on future revenues to get VC funding. And now I'm on the risk of talking a bit about microeconomics here, with the current interest rate market, how many of those VCs are still willing to invest in those smaller organizations? So it's going to be a combination of 2. You have a very crowded marketplace with a lot of players in them, and then you have larger orgs and the Ciscos of the world who maybe want to enter a certain call it security platform areas. They're going to start purchasing those smaller organizations.
I wasn't going to do this just yet, but you just led me right there. You have a lot of comments there I want to make, and while this is loading up, yes, the PE VCs were very, very clearly stated that it's not the same anymore. That if these companies believe that they're going to be raising more money, that they need to focus on profitability. However, the majority of the names that we're looking at here are well funded, right? There's been round after round after round at record valuations. So you'd have to hope that they have enough cash, and hopefully that what they'll do is have enough operating efficiency to use that cash wisely and maybe get them there. One of the really fun things we can do here, Nabil, that you just brought up, is we can overlay the emerging technology survey with our more mature names. Here I chose Cisco and Palo Alto, both in security specifically, because they happen to be the biggest platform plays. They happen to be the biggest M&A names, right? Cisco was just rumored to buy Splunk the other day. So for a fact that they're out here looking. We've seen Palo Alto buy Twistlock and so many more. So what we're doing here is we're taking a look at all of the names, all of you and your respondents that cited Cisco and Palo Alto in security, and then we overlay it with the ETS names. And I don't think you'd be surprised to see when you look at the overlay, the biggest shared net sentiment between the two is the one that you're doing a POC for right now. Right there, Snyk and app security. Not surprisingly, also to see right behind it, them in container security, Aqua and container security, Salt and API. It's just very interesting as we look at these names, the overlap between the two, you know, the big platform plays from the public companies and these emerging. I'm going to stay here for a second while we just kind of, you know, soak in this data and analysis and ask you, if you don't mind, how the POC is going. What's your initial thoughts on companies like Snyk?
I have to be careful not to. But I mean, so far, so good. So not to mention any other products that they're competing against. But let me concentrate on Snyk. One of the things that they bring to the table, and it's mentioned right there, is container security. So when you look at organizations that will have the most amount of success, are the ones, in my view, will not have that Kodak moment. And I hope you understand what I mean, meaning they will evolve with the marketplace. If you look right now, the biggest thing for a lot of orgs being small to medium, so my organization, for example, we are 100% cloud centric, right? When cloud organization affords you a capability that maybe your on-prem organization wasn't allowing you. So in that case, companies like Snyk have to evolve to become offer more cloud capability in order for them to grow into that marketplace. So that is one of the reasons, I tell you, one of the primary reasons we start looking at Snyk. Their capability on the container security that we felt some of the other vendors did not have.